Yo, what's good YouTube? It's Boardsy, and this is going to be a review of the ZOWIE GTFX, which is easily one of the most underrated mousepads in the market right now. It's been out forever, but I only recently got around to trying it because there was an influx of comments being like, Boardsy, try a GTFX. I'm like, okay, calm down. So I've had this pad for around 2 weeks now. It's probably been my main pad in that time. It's held up perfectly fine, which is always a good note for the initial 2 weeks. And really, I'm looking at this pad as a $35 Hien mid, but maybe even a bit faster. I don't have a Hien mid to compare it to. I have a Hien soft. I ripped the coating off of my Shidenkai, so it's kind of like a faux Hien mid, and this is much faster than that, and it really doesn't have a ton of stopping power. I will bless you guys with a lighter test, and you can see the pad itself, it does not have a lot of plushiness, and I really don't know if you could I don't know if you could put enough pressure in to make your mouse sink into this pad. I personally have not been able to, but really not a plushy surface. I believe it's 3.5 millimeters thick, and it has the same base as the gsrse, like the foam style base as opposed to like rubber. And I would say that the base is probably one of the biggest flaws on this pad. Like when I do this, it doesn't move around that much. You can see it moving a little bit, but in game, after like 20 or 30 minutes of playing, it definitely has adjusted. And when I go to readjust it, it just keeps fucking itself up every 30 minutes. So then I just give up and let my pad do whatever it wants, because clearly it owns me. So yeah, not a major fan of the base, but it is probably the biggest drawback on this pad, aside from the fact that the pad itself has very little stopping power. So yeah, take that for what it's worth. There is this very small ZOWIE logo on the top left that has not caused me any issues. The fucking stitched edging is probably straight up the best non-artisan stitched edges I've had. They're literally like barely raised, if raised whatsoever. Almost completely flush with the pad, and they're really soft. They've caused no issues like horizontally, vertically. Oh fuck, I just said that reverse. I'm gonna get called a retard in the comments. But real shit, this is probably like some of the best quality stitched edges I've used, so that's a major plus. And I feel like the quality on this pad, aside from the rubber backing, is really good. It's a water resistant surface. Oh my god, water test. I'm gonna implement those into my reviews as well. Poland Spring sponsor me. So humidity has not been a problem whatsoever. And it has been like creeping around 60% humidity recently, so if there were any issues, I would have noticed them by now. And this pad is uncoated, which is obviously a major W. And it's been around for so long. People have like documented how long it holds up, and it is a very durable pad. There's very few flaws on this pad if you enjoy the surface, and obviously that is the most important part. And if you find heavily textured mousepads like the Hien, or basically just any textured pad, to be abrasive, you'll probably experience the same thing with the GTFX. For me, though, the pads that I like all have textures like this, so I was able to just adjust to it immediately. And now getting into the actual speed of the pad, it has some of the lowest initial friction I've ever felt on a non-hard pad, or just like a cloth-style pad, you know. Maybe the Raiden mid is a bit lower, but it's very good for micro-adjusting. And like I've said before, it seems like when you're gliding the mouse, it just like wants to keep going. The pad itself really doesn't give you much stopping power. And obviously, the better you are at controlling your mouse, the less of an issue that this is going to be. But if you're used to something like a QCK or basically just any cloth pad, I just simply would not advise getting this. But if you know you want like a hybrid style pad, you play a faster paced game, this is like straight up a top tier pad. I've been performing extremely well with it. And I feel like there's sort of like a family of Hien alternatives now. Like the Aqua Control Plus uncoated is if you want like a slower version of a Hien, like a more like watered down version, I guess. And then you can go for the Odin Infinity if you want something that like really is similar to the Hien at a budget price. And then you can go for a GTFX if you want like an even faster version of a fucking Hien mid. And I brought out my Hien Soft just to compare the textures. You guys can see that these are fucking extremely close, and I'm sure the Artisan pad is treated a bit differently. And I definitely prefer my Hien Soft because the surface is a bit plushier, and I just enjoy it. I've been using my fucking Hien Soft for like 8 months now, and I think I also prefer the Odin Infinity as well. And even though that has less stopping power than the Hien, it has more stopping power than the GTFX. And this pad will be receiving the Boardsy seal of approval. It was a slightly hard decision to come to. For one, I just really don't like this base. Maybe it's just a bit worse on my desk, and maybe if I wet it, it would also be a bit better. But yeah, that kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. But at the end of the day, this pad is uncoated, very consistent, at least so far. The glide hasn't changed whatsoever. It's affordable as well. It's like $40 after shipping, but if you get it on Amazon in its prime, it's like $35. So it's in the good price range, not really too expensive since you are receiving a premium surface. And like I said with the Hien alternative family before, just go by that. Just realized I forgot to go over the specs. So it is 480 by 400, a very nice size, and it is only available in this black colorway. So once again, if you want one of the fastest cloth pads, like I'd say out of 10, this is like probably a 9 in terms of speed while actually like playing. So yeah, if you're in that niche, this is a very good pad. Very surprising, very underrated. Make sure to leave a like and sub. Peace.